Since Walker Stapleton isn't participating in the 9 News gubernatorial debate this week, he has some extra time on his hands to do things like jumping into a lawsuit. Voters in Colorado Springs are suing to keep 6th-term Republican Congressman Doug Lamborn off the primary ballot. It's because of who Lamborn hired to collect signatures to get him on the ballot. Well, wouldn't you know, Stapleton hired some of the same people. Why should we care? Marshall Zellinger explains.
Okay, you just came to Trader Joe's for your cookie butter or your cauliflower crust pizza when you're asked to sign my petition. So you relent and sign the petition, which helped candidates like Doug Lamborn and Walker Stapleton qualify for the primary ballot. Or did you? As we told you last week, 5 voters in Colorado Springs are challenging these signatures collected by 6th-term Congressman Doug Lamborn. Not because the signatures are bad or because they didn't collect enough, but because they believe the people who asked you to sign my petition are not really Colorado residents and should not have been collecting in the first place.
One of them owns a house in California, has a wife out there. We clearly don't think he's a resident just sharing space with somebody who owns a house.
This is the part of the story where you shout, "So what? It's my signature. Who cares who asked me for it?"
It goes to the integrity of the election process. So Colorado and other states have this legal requirement. Everybody knows ahead of time what the rules are, and you have to follow the rules.
The Secretary of State's office verifies the person collecting the signatures is registered to vote at the Colorado address they put on their affidavit and is the same party as the candidate for whom they're collecting signatures.
There's nothing wrong at all for folks that might be collecting signatures to take jobs here temporarily and then go other places and return to Colorado time and again, and that's the case in the case of most of these circulators.
6 of the people who collected signatures for Lamborn all registered to vote using the same Thornton address. It turns out they collected signatures for Walker Stapleton too. So he has filed a motion to have the case against Lamborn dismissed, even though he's not part of it. Why? If Lamborn's signatures get tossed, Stapleton's could too, keeping him off the ballot. His argument can be summed up with this line from court documents: elections should be decided by voters, not lawyers. There is a hearing in court tomorrow morning on whether or not your signature should count based on the residency of someone else. If that sounds like inside baseball, it is. But signature collection, as you say, Kyle, is a goat rodeo.
It is a goat rodeo.
And there's going to be a lot of changes. There were changes in the last 2 years about how this works, and this is really putting the process on trial, more so than the legitimacy of, hey, I want to see this person on the ballot. My vote should count.
Fair to say this looks like kind of a long shot at this point, this lawsuit.
Yes. Judges probably don't want to keep my signature from putting someone on the ballot, even through some technicality of someone else's fault.
Makes sense. High bar. Democracy. All right, Marshall, thank you. So we will be hearing from the candidates for governor who are willing to show up and debate later this week. Democrats on Wednesday night, Republicans on Thursday night. Both debates air live at 7 p.m. on Channel 20. We'll live stream them as well. It's been 3 weeks since Mauricio Venzel-Gonzalez escaped from Denver Sheriff's employees at Denver Health. Police told us today they have nothing new for the public. Weeks ago, they said the community is not safe with Venzel-Gonzalez on the loose. They've gotten quiet since then, but we figured we should remind you. Venzel-Gonzalez is wanted for the attempted murder of a police officer. Denver police shot and killed a man in a car chase, thinking it was him. It's unanimous in the Colorado House. Crime victims in our state have the right to know where their perpetrator is being held. Governor Hickenlooper once defended the practice of keeping some prisoners' whereabouts a secret from victims. Following our 9 Wants to Know investigation, he agreed to sign a transparency bill. That would be the one that the legislature sent to his desk today with a unanimous vote in the House. Hundreds of homeowners in Denver are nervously waiting to see if the city's going to try to force them to sell their homes at prices below market value. These are the people who unknowingly ended up in the city's affordable housing program. And then there's the couple our Brandon Ritteman met. They ended up underwater on their home because they decided to fix it up.
This house in Green Valley Ranch was supposed to be the house for Marvin and Patricia Randell's retirement.
It's a good neighborhood. It's a good house.
What the Randells didn't know when they bought it, the good house came with price restrictions under the city's affordable housing program. Now, the city of Denver could force them to sell their home for tens of thousands of dollars less than market value. And what's worse, they fixed this place up and spent a lot of money doing it.
But it didn't matter to me because I plan on dying in the house, and that's somebody else's problem.
You fixed it up the way you wanted it forever.
I did. I made it to my standards.
If you had to guess, how much money have you put into this house roughly since you bought it?
About $70,000.
The Randells refinanced this house just a few months ago for $299,000, but the city program capped the price of the house at $256,000. The couple didn't know it, but taking out that new loan instantly put them $43,000 underwater on their home. The city knew it had problems at this point, but only recently got the warning out to more than 300 homes.
I find that the city was just as confused as I was.
Marvin's not your average buyer. He's a retired real estate agent. Just like city leaders, he expected title companies to catch this problem. But only the city has the power to keep the Randells in their home.
Now that you got this problem, how do you resolve this problem without hurting good, hard-working peoples that put their time and money into their home?
So far, the city's making no promises, just offering people a 6-month delay and reserving the right to enforce its rules, even if the homeowners didn't know about those rules until now. For Next, I'm Brandon Rittiman.
The Randells' purchase of that home met the city's guidelines. The market price now is much higher than the city's cap. It's the same pattern we've seen with dozens of these homes. A number of you have asked how to tell if your house might be caught up in this affordable housing program. It is not simple. So we have built a step-by-step guide for you, complete with screenshots. You'll find it in this article on 9news.com. This would be a whole lot easier if the city of Denver would just give us a list of the homes in its program, but they have not done that yet. May I make a recommendation? Point you towards something, anything that isn't ours, but is certainly worth your time. Governor Hickenlooper did a splashy interview with Rolling Stone, you know, the kind that you do if you run for president. There he talks immigration, gun laws, marijuana, but what caught my eye is when the governor called for the sale of the Denver Post. He did stop short of saying that the government should have a role in forcing such a sale, even if the Post hedge fund owner is bleeding it dry, sending 30 newsroom employees to the curb today in those layoffs we've been talking about. There's a link to Hick's interview with Rolling Stone on the Next Facebook page. Our next question comes from a viewer named Diane, who lives near Quincy and Reservoir in Aurora. Diane writes, I have 2 pot shops within 50 yards of each other in the same parking lot and now have a very large pot shop being built maybe 200 yards away. Doesn't Aurora have any permitting regulations? So, Diane, we asked the city of Aurora for you. Short answer, no. No separation requirements. Now, they have distance requirements from certain facilities. Pot shop can't be within 1,000 feet of a school, pre-K through high school. Can't be within 500 feet of a hospital or a substance abuse treatment center. They can be right up next to daycare facilities and colleges. The only thing that could limit where marijuana stores in Aurora are, the city rule that they will not issue more than 24 retail licenses. In each of the 6 council wards, there's supposed to be 4 licenses apiece, but they can all be right next door to each other. There are far too many exposed butts on Colfax these days of the cigarette variety. Colfax Business Improvement District is hoping a $10,000 grant can change that, and we saw that as an opportunity to test our Noel Brennan's counting skills.
1, 2, 3, 4, 15, 16, 17, 18. It's like counting dandelions, except it's gross. 30, 31, there's a piece of pizza, 32. Just counting cigarette butts. 97, 98, 99, 100, 184, 185, 186, 299, 300. I've counted 300 cigarette butts. I don't think I can count anymore.
And that is just at the corner of Colfax and Race. So you can see that there's a problem. In comes the nonprofit Keep America Beautiful. $10,000 for 10 dome trash can lids along Colfax. 3 standalone urns will go to the 3 worst problem spots. I'm curious to know where those are. We'll find that out for you. The rest of the money will cover a marketing campaign telling people how to throw out cigarette butts. You know how people just do it. The new lids and cans go in June. The Denver Post is not the city's only struggling newspaper.
We receive no money from the school, but it really, we pride ourselves on that.
And it is time to get real about life.
We just had our 2nd child.
Confessions of a Parent.
It's exponentially harder.
The start of our new series exploring what parents aren't sharing on social media. Next.
It's been a wild ride this Monday. I'm meteorologist Kathy Sabin. We had wind, cloud cover, rain, snow, and now skies clearing again down here, but the snow returning to the high country, all part of a fast-moving weather system that's moving out of the state as we speak. Temperatures today in the mid-50s, and we're headed for a big warm-up the next couple of days. But along with the warmth comes the wind as high pressure centers itself over the area. Storm track to the north, even the incoming Pacific storm system. All that energy will miss us. So fire danger, something we'll be talking about later this week with a fire weather watch that goes out on Wednesday and Thursday. Other than the high cloud cover that's expected to come in late in the day tomorrow and keep the overnight minimums up, pretty quiet. Partly cloudy, low around freezing tonight, sunshine and 71 tomorrow. You like that? Check this out. Wednesday, some of you will see near 80 degrees, mid-70s Thursday with mountain snow. Yep, there's a storm coming Friday, not like last Friday, not an Arctic front, but cooler with rain and snow showers, highs in the 40s to end the week. A little unsettled on Saturday and then back to 60s and sunshine for Sunday and Monday, Kyle.
All right, Kathy, thanks. Newspapers are struggling, from the Denver Post to newspapers at some high schools, where they are learning real-life lessons and how hard it is to keep journalism profitable. Our Byron Reed stopped by George Washington High in Denver.
At George Washington High School in Denver,
I feel like we have a lot of smiling photos.
putting together a school newspaper takes a little teamwork.
Some of us are editing articles, some of us are going through photos.
And for senior Maren Clapper,
I've always liked writing.
a little team is what she has.
It's really difficult with such a small staff, but we are able to work together even in small numbers.
Clapper is the co-editor-in-chief for their high school newspaper, The Surveyor. The paper has been around since the early 1960s and is completely student-run.
We choose what goes into the paper. We choose what articles we want to write.
George Washington is one of 6 high schools in the Denver Public School District with a newspaper where students can learn about journalism.
They work on business skills. It's an actual business where they raise all the money and work towards a common goal of printing.
But like most in the print industry, The Surveyor is facing its own challenges.
Everybody's going online, looking at Twitter, Facebook for their news stories, and so the print news is a dying industry right now, and so we're seeing it at the school level too.
And this year, they had to cut back on some editions.
We were supposed to have 2 issues, but we only have enough money for 1. So we decided to do this issue solely on the internet.
An effort to keep this high school tradition alive and use a little teamwork to make ends meet.
And we can really write what we want to write and what the school wants to see.
For Next, I'm Byron Reed.
The GW High School newspaper staff plans on printing the final edition of the paper this year for the seniors who are graduating.
Confessions of a Parent, real talk about what parenting is really like. And we'll discuss the help available for struggling parents right now, if only they can push through the stigma of asking for it.
They're afraid of being judged. They're afraid to judge others.
Then, the sign that had us asking wildlife workers some very specific questions about moose. Next.
No one's life is as perfect as it seems on social media. That's especially true for parents. There is a stigma around seeking help, admitting that you are struggling and frustrated with your kids and can't do it alone. 1 in 5 parents in Colorado says they have no one to turn to for emotional support. That is a recipe for tragedy. April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. Perfect time for us to start a series of real conversations about parenting.
My name is Katie Fascinello. I am a Broncos-loving wife, mother of 2. This is so incredibly hard and stressful. It's wonderful, of course, but I can't believe how stressful it is, so much that I had to get my first mouth guard because I'm grinding my teeth every night. I'm so unbelievably lucky, and it almost makes me feel more guilty. Because I have a mother-in-law who's unbelievable and comes every day and takes care of the kids and will make dinners for me when I'm, running late and don't get home early. And my husband is so wonderful and supportive, and it feels good, but it almost feels worse in that I I should be able to do it on my own. I think about 17-year-old teenagers who are having a baby, and I'm a 30-something. I'm not going to say how old I am, but I'm a 30-something, and I'm struggling so much.
Well, look who's back. It's Kate Facinello, who, in addition to being a parent, also works for the Colorado Department of Human Services. Bringing attention to April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, working with Jade Woodard, who is the executive director of Illuminate Colorado, a nonprofit dedicated to that same cause. Thank you both for your time. There is help available to struggling parents, like right now, pick up the phone help.
Yes. So we know that 1 in 5 parents say they have no one to turn to. Parenting is hard. Parenting is overwhelming. It's okay. It's hard for all of us. Don't worry about it. Ask for help.
You want to be there for that parent who's having a tough time. Obviously, if somebody sees a child in immediate danger, you need to call 911. What do you want people to be cognizant of when it comes to recognizing the signs of child abuse and neglect and then reporting it?
So if you're seeing a parent and you don't know what to do, yes, first step, make the phone call. You dial the number, we'll make the call. You don't have to know for sure that something bad is happening. Trust your gut. It doesn't necessarily mean someone will go out and investigate. It also doesn't necessarily mean that children will be removed from their home. We've done a wonderful job in Colorado of getting services in the home. So sometimes parents, it may look from the outside that they're struggling with neglect or supervision. Well, underlying that is really a struggle with childcare. Maybe they're working 2 jobs and you're leaving the older sibling with a younger sibling. You never really know what's going on in the home, and so that's why it's so important just to make the phone call.
Katie Facinello and Jade Woodard, thank you so much for coming in, sharing your time and your expertise. Thank you for your confession of a parent. Folks will see my confession as a new father coming up later this week, and we want to hear other people's experiences. Let's try to get rid of some of that shame and stigma and the idea that people struggle with parenting, and to know that help is out there. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can see our full conversation on the next YouTube channel. My confession of a parent airs tomorrow night. I want to hear yours. Talk to us about what parenting is honestly like for you in your household, the good and the bad, the stuff that doesn't end up on social media, right? Email next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag #HeyNext. We will have a sign for you that sparked a conversation among the next staff today. Are moose fast? And we are already receiving some of your parenting confessions. That's next. It's a sign spotted by Rebecca Tilbury near Peru Creek in Dillon. Slow moose crossing. That is a deceiving juxtaposition of signs, because moose are not slow. They are surprisingly fast, and you need to know that for your safety. Colorado Parks and Wildlife says a male moose can weigh up to 1,000 pounds and charging can run 65 miles per hour. Not a slow moose. Fun fact, the Shirus moose is the largest big game animal in Colorado. Again, not slow, they are fast. Be careful. Email next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag #HeyNext. 35 miles per hour. I don't know what I said there. Anyway, I'm scared of moose. Robert Pruitt writes in and says, love your show, but the guy who counted the cigarette butts, Noel Brennan, why didn't he pick him up? April noticed the same thing, and Bronwyn. My guess is Noel's the best guy in the world. My guess is he got out there and then realized he didn't have any gloves or anything. And you probably don't want to pick up 1,000 cigarette butts with your bare hands. You're tempting fate. Love the parenting stories coming in. Tony says this is a necessary topic in today's world of feigned constant parental bliss on social media. Jared says, one time when my son was peeing on me at Target, I had this clear vision of how little I knew about life. Can't wait for these. See you next time.